Okay, everybody. So I wanted to make a quick short video for us uh, to deploy our Vite apps. We've done all this hard work, and now we want them to look good on GitHub pages. Luckily, GitHub Actions is going to make this easy for us. So if we head on over to the documentation, we've got some code snippets here for us to use. Makes it real easy to get this project out and onto GitHub. So right here it tells us how we can set the correct base property in our application. So we just head over to the Vite config.js and set our base to be the name of our repository. So um, whatever we name the repo is what we're going to add as the value for our base. So let's go to GitHub and we'll create a repository for this, right? We're just going to make a brand new repository. We'll call it something like Vite deploy example or test, right? So we'll get rid of this capital V, we'll get rid of this D. So make that and then we'll just say this is just a test here. And then we're not going to add a README or anything because we've already got a project. So when we create a Vite app, right, that's going to create an empty repository on your computer. We just need to give it the remote. So we'll slide down here. We're just going to grab this line, get remote add origin, and we'll add this remote as the origin here. So we'll copy that. And we'll head down to our project, which I have that open in VS Code here. And I'll make that a little larger for you. So what we can do is we will go to the terminal. And in the terminal, we're just going to go ahead and do a git init, right? Initialize an empty repo because this is not actually a repo. I have all of the files and folders from the project just so that it kind of looks like maybe what you want it to do. But I'm going to initialize this empty repository. That gives us a git folder in the project. If you start by creating this as a Vite project, it is already an empty repository. We're just going to give it that remote there. So uh, we'll add the remote on, get remote, add origin. That's going to basically create a symlink between this local project and the GitHub repository. So now we can see we've got a remote. If we type in git remote, and then we can use git status here to check the git status. And we'll see that we have not added anything in this repository yet. So what we can do now is we're going to do the steps that they asked us to do on the uh, documentation. So we head over to the documentation and it says, we need to go into our Vite config here, and in our Vite config, set base to the repository that we have. So we'll just copy that name of the repository, right? Make sure we get that correct. Head back down, go to our Vite config, right? And right here in the very beginning of the config object is where we're going to add the base property. And we'll just go ahead and plop the name of the repository in there. Now, this is going to mess up our React router a little bit, right? So what we want to do is go to our React router, right? And in the browser router part, right, we want to add a base name to the React router. So we have Vite deploy example is also going to go in as the base name property for our router, which is going to start every page at this route here. So this path will begin right after that path. So all of our routes that are in the router will then start right after this. So if we got to configure the Vite base URL to be this pattern here, we're going to go ahead and make sure that we add that pattern to our router as well. Until we deploy it a different way, we're just going to do that to make that match. So now the next thing we're going to do after we get a base URL in here is keep following this guide here, which says that we want to go up to GitHub, go to the GitHub pages configuration in the repository settings, and choose a source of deployment as GitHub Actions. So if we deploy with GitHub Actions, we're going to need a workflow, right? Which would be give it a workflow trigger like on push here, right? That will say, when we push to branch main, we are going to then, install all of our dependencies and, give it read write permissions so that we can easily have it find the build page. Now, I'm using this one right from the GitHub pages section in the Vite docs so that, it already matches up with Vite. When we run build is going to give us a dist folder. So it's going to be important that we run the build command before we push it up. But I'm going to go ahead and just copy this. We'll head over to our repository. We're going to go to the settings section. In the settings section, we're going to go to the pages section here, right? And we're going to change the build and deployment from deploy branch to GitHub Actions, right? GitHub Actions comes with a bunch of templates, right? They have one for Next.js and so on. We're going to go ahead and just choose create our own workflow because we have that file from the docs. So we will, choose to edit this workflow, and I'm just going to replace this with the code that we got from there, right? And then we're going to name this main.yaml. So it's a YAML file, and that's going to legitimize the file so that we've got a YAML file for our deployment for our workflow. And then what we can do is commit those changes right here in the corner, which will update the repository on the repository on GitHub. So we'll commit those up top, right? And that'll give us a workflow file when we go back to our code tab here. We've got a new folder, GitHub workflows, and it's got that YAML file in there. We're going to have to pull that down. So what I'm going to do right now is just do a git pull. We'll pull on origin main here, right? And that's going to pull down, right? And it should give us our GitHub folder with workflows and our main YAML file there, right? That way, when we push it up, it's got GitHub Actions and it's going to be able to trigger that push. So we'll add everything in. Make sure your env that you're actually using, right, has your API key in it, but then also you're going to want to make sure you don't get that up on GitHub. So I use a env example for someone else to use, right? And so we'll add all this and make sure everything's in there. We'll run a commit that says, we're adding our all the folders and files for right now because I have basically everything going in right here. And we'll push that up to main. And then we'll head up to the repository and you can see back on the main code tab, right? We'll get this little area down here for our deployments, right? And it shows you, that GitHub pages is queued up, right? That it is, when we head over here, we should be able to see that we have a commit that's working, right? And so the uh, deployment is happening right now. So what we'll do is I'll just wait for that. That's going to take itself, take a little while. Usually takes a little while for us to get that to go live, right? So we'll head over here. Oh, it looks like it worked pretty quickly, right? And sometimes it can take a few minutes. And then we just want to make sure that our router is working, that all of our routes for the project are in order. Make sure the API is working here. Um, and looks like that's working. And we're able to um, add some books to the collection, remove books. So it's all updated. It's hooking into local storage and working. So I will post this for us. I hope you enjoyed that quick little video. That way you guys can review this along with the code guide that I've got on Discord. Thanks.